I don't know how many of you managed to, or got the pleasure to listen to my Christmas homily. I hope it was a pleasure. But in my Christmas homily, I talked about why did Jesus come to earth, right? For the rest of us, we come to live, right? Christ didn't come to live here on earth, right? He didn't come to live. He came to die. But that's not the whole thing, right? That might be why he came, like what he came to do. But why did he come, right? The why wasn't just to die. The why wasn't even just to rise from the dead. The why did Jesus come was to save us from death. That's why Christ came. Christ came that we might have life and have it more abundantly. That's why he came. And today gives us this little foreshadow of Easter. And it's really kind of awesome that the church puts this right now, because this is the start of what was often called the Old Passion Tide, the last 2 weeks of Lent, where we really start diving into the fact that Christ is going to die. And so the church puts this one in there to show that he's not only the Lord of the living, but also of the dead. That he has control over death itself. And so we have that promise already that's going to be more fulfilled. It's going to be fulfilled in his own resurrection from the dead. But that's our hope, right? And he came to give us that hope that we will have that life eternal. That death is not the end. That's the first thing. The second, though, ties very closely to that. And that is, do we hold on to that hope? Do we have that faith? How often, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like Martha. And it doesn't even have to be with the death of someone I love. It could be some other things that are much more minor. And I will go to God and I will go, Lord, where were you in this situation? I needed you and you were absent. Where were you? Why weren't you there? Because to me it feels like he was gone in that situation. And yet all too often I forget that he is there. That he might allow something to happen, but he will always be there. And he will always lead me on to eternal life if I just trust in him. And that's the one that I find so interesting in this gospel reading with that aspect of Martha and Mary. Whenever they come, who's the one that goes out to them? Martha. And what does she say, right? She goes, Lord, if you had been there, my brother would not have died. But she ends it with trust. But even now, I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. And then she goes on just this little bit later to say, I believe that you are the Lord. And I have trust in the resurrection of the life. She wasn't asking for Lazarus to be raised from the dead. She was saying, I have trust in you. And I always found it interesting that this time it was Martha who voiced that trust. And Mary, this time, didn't. May we always, in this instance, in these times of trials that we will go through, in the sufferings and pains, that we will always ask God for that trust in him, especially to have the ultimate trust in his ultimate gift that he wishes to give to us, that he came down to live and to die and to rise to give to us, the gift of eternal life, of eternal joy with him in heaven. Let us hold on to that hope let us ask God for the faith and the hope and the trust to always make that our center point throughout all the dark times of our lives.